Richard Hunter. And so how many sergeants do you have that work for you right now?
5.
5. And so that means that you have to be in an on-call capacity. So you're on the phone quite a bit with those guys, correct?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So are you aware of the complaint that has been made of what this incident is about?
Scott Harvey?
Yes.
Yes.
So can you tell me what you know about the complaint?
Just that he said he was uncomfortable about a conversation we had.
Okay.
In a nutshell. It may have been a little different.
Do you remember that conversation?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Can you tell me what that conversation was?
The part that he's talking about is me and him jokingly talking about our wives giving each other massages.
Can you how was that conversation initiated?
He called me.
He called you?
Mm-hmm.
And then how did that conversation go?
He started that conversation with the massage, and then it just developed from there. But just to back up from there, I have a working relationship with him where he was once my sergeant and said the same things back in Baldwin. So, I mean, this is not something that's uncommon for him. He talks this all the time about he's had some surgery issues, and I'll let you ask him that, but that he can't do things as a husband, and he jokingly asks people to do that for him on a regular basis. It's just a running joke.
He's asked you to have sex with his wife?
As a joking way.
So it was not taken seriously?
No, and it never would be.
And like I said, I started this, like, I don't know the dynamics, so I'm trying to grasp all that and understand that.
And I'm sure other people in our office can tell you, they hear him say the same stuff. It's a joking thing, whether it be just whatever, for whatever reason. Something like you might say, well, that's not what your wife said, or something, something nonchalant like that.
So he calls you that evening in question. Mm-hmm. His wife becomes involved in the conversation on the phone. How did that occur?
I guess she was sitting beside him, I don't know. But you could hear her talking back to him and laughing. And
you did not make a call to his wife?
Yes, I did, after I initially talked to him, yes.
Okay.
It's about 15 minutes. But that whole 15 minutes it was just chatter, other than it wasn't like a 15-minute long conversation of how we can massage your wife. Now granted, this included my wife, so it ain't like I was just singling his out. Okay. It was a joke.
So you made a call to his wife after this conversation. Mm-hmm. And what was the purpose of that call? Because
he had mentioned something, and I can't say word for word, this has been almost 3 weeks ago.
Right.
If you want to set it up, then call my wife. So I jokingly did. I've talked to her before in the past on the phone.
If you want to set what up?
The massage.
And then you made that call to her?
Yes, jokingly.
Have you had those type of conversations with his wife before?
With her on the same conversation, yes. Not necessarily a massage, but hey, you want to come spend the night with my wife while I go out? And her on the phone laughing. Or sitting in the seat beside him, or sitting at the dinner table, wherever they're at. And that wasn't me, I ain't saying that's always the basis for the conversation, but sometimes there's a joke said. It may have been something totally off the wall, like how do you barbecue your pork butt or something, I don't know. But it wasn't just phone calls and, hey, what can I do to your wife tonight? It was just, sometimes a joke would come up, and that's exactly what it is.
And so can you describe that conversation with the wife, how that, once you called her, what was that conversation?
A couple jokes about the massage, and that was the end of it. The rest of it was just talk.
Was her children present?
I don't know.
Did you ask if the children were present?
No, but
it started out with, he said, watch it, my kids are in the car, and he says, you need to get the kids out of the car. I need to talk to your wife.
And he immediately asked, if the kids were around. I said, yeah, the kids are in the car, I'm on the way home. That's the problem. Your lines are blue. Draw them with red ink.
He's called me before and me at home getting ready to work and asked me if I'm still naked, can he come to the house? It's a joke. I know he's not seriously going to come to my house, but it's a joke. And maybe I should know better in my position, but like I say, this goes back to when he was my sergeant in Baldwin.
Right.
Jokes like that were said then, so you take it as, it's a joke and that's the end of it.
Do you remember what his wife said in response?
About the massage? She just laughed.
Well, you understand, at this point, I've talked to quite a few people, so you guys are contradicting each other on what is said.
It is what it is. I mean, I even got pictures of stuff on my phone that he sends to me, if you want to see that.
Sure.
For him to have such bad hurt feelings about it, but he'll send me this stuff.
Did he send that to your, is that to your county
My personal phone?
Okay.
If it's that big of an offense, why send me something like that? And you can read my text surrounding that. I'm not texting him for anything to send me that, but he did. And I don't hold it against him too. I found it quite funny. And then there's that one. I mean, I took it as a joke. I don't take that serious. That's what got me all upset about this anyway, because I'd have never thought in a million years he would have called and complained about that with the relationship we have with each other. Joking and cutting up.
Is that kind of joking and cutting up, is that like a common thing amongst patrol?
I wouldn't say everybody there, but a couple folks, yes. And sometimes it's a way just to blow off steam or something, if you, whatever. Just jabber, in this profession we learn a certain talk and a certain sense of things that maybe ain't appropriate for the rest of the public. But we do that just because we do what we do.
Yeah.
Whether it be jokingly or laughing on the scene or something, or making a joke, it probably shouldn't have been said to where anybody could hear it but the immediate couple that are standing around you. You wouldn't want citizens on the sidewalk to hear, but that's just the way we develop.
So why do you think he would feel like a line was crossed and make a complaint?
I do not know. The only thing I could think is I disciplined him like a week or so ago, week and a half. Verbal discipline. There was an incident, he made a traffic stop. We just started working again. And he called me from the jail. He was sitting inside the Sally Port. And he said the jail checked his temperature. They won't accept him. Said he's running a fever. I said, okay, take him to the hospital, get him cleared. If he gets cleared, bring him back to jail. If not, we'll get warrants on him later. That simple. So he hangs up with me, then he calls the other sergeant, Cody Sanders. Tells him the same thing, I guess hoping, I don't know why, but he wanted that shift to come up there and sit with them, and that sergeant said, no, we're not doing that, because if you've been exposed, there's no need of my shift being exposed. So then he hangs up and calls the chief deputy, tells him the same thing. Well, the chief deputy says, just go home, leave the evidence in your trunk of your car, we'll worry about it Monday. I didn't agree with that. So I called him in there and told him, I said, I know you done what the chief told you. I said, well, we don't leave evidence in the trunk of a car for a whole weekend. Not when you're going out of town. I mean, you just don't do it anyway. That's O.J. Simpson stuff, and that's exactly what I told him. So he wasn't happy about that. Of course, I mean, there was no ill word said toward each other, but I thought it needed addressed.
But when you say verbal, so that was a verbal reprimand. You make supervisor notes or anything?
I didn't make any notes. I just talked to him and told him we didn't need to do that again. He knows I did. That's the only thing, and I wouldn't think that would be something where you would want to come and complain about something like this about. I mean, that's just basic law enforcement to me.
He and his wife said that you sounded like you were intoxicated in this conversation. Were you intoxicated when you had that conversation?
I'd had a drink, yes.
So you don't think that had any effect on what you said?
No. No, what I would have said would have been saying to him standing right here at the office. Maybe it ain't appropriate, and I'm learning that now, that maybe some chatter that's been going on for 4 or 5 years maybe should stop. I see that now. I guess you just don't see a lot of that till it does happen. Guilty of that? Yes. I probably shouldn't have said that. But as far as all that other making me feel uncomfortable and I wanted to go cry and whatever else, that's bull crap. These conversations I wouldn't say conversations, but the remarks and the jokes have been going on for too long for it just like that. And he could have come and talked to me and said, look, man, I don't like that crap anymore. Let's don't do that. He didn't say that.
Has he ever spoke to your wife and made...
Why she's on the phone, say stuff. You know, just like she was standing there that morning I was getting dressed. Are you naked? You know, she was there. She heard that. She laughed. She didn't take it offensive because to me, it's harmless chatter. And it's been that way. This didn't start last week, you know, like I said, it goes back to Baldwin days when the jokes would run. You know, he's got false teeth. He used to joke about giving guys jobs. So, this ain't something that just started a week ago, I guess I'm trying to imply. That's the gist of it.
So I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to understand what changed, why, because, you know, what you're saying and what he's saying and what his wife's saying are different things. So we're trying to understand, I'm just trying to understand why that is.
I think they're all three different stories, ain't they?
Well, they're different, you know, so.
I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what had changed, honestly, because nothing had changed in our relationship other than that incident. In the past, having to get on to him about minor stuff, but nothing documented, because all it took was a conversation.
And were all these conversations, were you on your personal phone or that night, or on your county phone?
No, it's on my personal phone. I don't do any of that crap on the county phone.
Do you have the number that's in?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that night was on my county phone because he called me on my county phone, and that's just the number I hit back.
Okay.
Yeah, but general conversation is on here unless he's 10-8 on the shift.
Okay, but that conversation that night was on the county phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's the one he called me on.
So he called you, and then you
I just
called his wife.
Autumn.
Called Autumn.
Yeah.
And you have that number saved in your county phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I got it on my personal phone. I mean, we've talked before on the phone. She's brought us breakfast to work before, and I'll call her, hey, thank you for bringing us breakfast.
do you have communication with other spouses as well, or is that a relationship, is that part of?
Yeah, I would say I talk to other spouses too.
Do you have other spouses' phones saved in your county phone as well?
Yeah, it's because it syncs, because I got my county email.
Okay.
And it'll sync contacts.
Sync to contacts,
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But yeah, I talk to other people's wives. Maybe not in contact with Harvey, because that's just a different relationship.
Do you have that kind of relationship with anybody else and their spouses where you feel where y'all have that kind of sexual banter back and forth?
I wouldn't call it sexual banter. I'd call it joking. Because I wouldn't sleep with his wife.
Yeah.
And nor would I want him to sleep with mine. It's just a joke.
Well, you know, I mean, it's sexual in nature. That conversation, what you said, you know, it is sexual in nature. So that's why I'm asking if it.
Yeah.
So that's no.
No, I've been camping with other wives and people say stuff. Now to sit here and try to draw a graph, everybody's name and been camping and doing this, no, I couldn't tell you. But okay. You could probably ask any wife there, which I wouldn't want them to get involved in this. They know that. It ain't like I just call people's wives up and say, hey, you know, want a massage? He initiated that conversation. I just played into it.
Okay.
Looking back now, very wrong, yes. Should have handled myself a little better. But I thought the relationship we've had over the past 5 years was that. You know, joke or whatever you want to do, you know. I know it would never happen. I wouldn't do that to him. So I don't know what changed, but something obviously changed.
And that concerns me because somebody's not telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're not going to get that answer sitting here, you know. So
all I can say is he called me, so that ought to tell you something. I didn't call him looking for a massage. He called me on an off night, not working.
And you were not intoxicated.
I had a drink, but I wasn't intoxicated. And how do you tell that difference? We know how you tell that difference. Mm-hmm. Words slurred, speech slurred, all that stuff, no, none of that was present.
I know this is tough, and I'm asking personal questions. I know, I'm just trying to get a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a drinking problem?
No.
No?
In the past, yes. But in the last 7 months, no. And the sheriff knows this, because he's the one that kind of helped me deal with it 7 months ago. Maybe not to the day, but it's been several months ago.
So you feel like you have that under control?
Yes.
Can I ask how you accomplished that? How you got that under control?
I just quit. I didn't have a choice. It's either job, family, or drink. So you make that conscious decision to do that. I occasionally still drink, yes. I guess my hardest thing was learning, especially coming into the role I was, is being on call 24/7, where you really can't do anything at all unless you plan it ahead. So,
yeah.
So hopefully some kind of resolution can come to that in the future about taking turns on that call. So if you want to turn the phone off and not hear nothing other than your higher boss.
Everybody needs a break, On-call rotation gives you some break.
Mm-hmm. That hasn't happened yet, but maybe in the future here.
Well, I hope so.
I don't know what to tell you about what changed. I don't either. It's got me consumed also. Mm-hmm. Because I can tell you it was a shock when the sheriff told me that was a complaint. I wish I'd had a camera on the other side of the wall that showed my expression. In my position as captain, yes, that's probably unacceptable. Shouldn't be done. I admit to that. But as far as making him uncomfortable and something that was just out of the way, no, I won't. That's been running too long.
This is another personal question. When was the last time you were intoxicated?
I don't know. Last week, maybe. Not intoxicated, but I wanted to find the intoxicated and having a drink being a lot different than slurring and blah, 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 than having a drink.
Okay, well, when's the last time you've been drunk?
I don't know.
It's been a long time?
It's been long enough where I don't remember.
I mean, I asked that because, of course, the drinking has come up, of course, because the insinuation is that is part of the problem. Mm-hmm. But you're telling me it's not.
Right.
Okay.
Do you usually talk to your deputies at night when they're working?
Not necessarily unless something comes up, but I talk to deputies while we're off duty because we're friends.
Okay. But if they're working shift, do you call and talk to them? Like, do you call in and talk to them? Like, just, hey, how's it going?
I'm sure.
Have you ever done that when you've been drinking?
I'm sure.
Okay. How often does that happen?
Hardly ever, because I don't drink hardly ever anymore.
Okay.
Back up now, the time frame I'm mentioning, maybe it happened more than it should have.
Mm-hmm. How about the last 4 months?
I don't know. Maybe a time or two, I don't know.
Okay.
But it was a casual conversation. It wasn't, you need to end the chase.
And I'll go back to jokes and stuff like that. So it is a common, for the most part, not everyone participates in that common talk, but the sexual jokes and the sexual banter, or as, I don't know how y'all referenced it earlier. I know you call it jokes, but that's normal. Like the videos and anything. Have you ever shown somebody a pornographic video on your phone?
Well, yeah.
So did you show a subordinate that?
Yeah.
And that's your environment here. Like everybody.
I wouldn't say it's the environment. I mean, I don't think it's the environment. I just think it's something that comes around and it's curiosity, wanting to watch it more than just slam it in somebody's face and said, you got to watch this. It's they want to see it.
They asked to see it, or you just said, hey, you go see it?
Yeah.
They asked you to watch porn on your phone.
Not necessarily porn, but there's a couple videos like on Facebook that is somebody we know. That is not porn, but it is them in a thong dancing around.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify because
yes.
it was coming
no,
up. Okay.
No, I'm not watching.
Okay.
Yeah, Facebook and pornography is two different things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's getting pretty bad, but yes, Okay. It's simply because it's somebody you went to school with that's doing this crazy stuff. It ain't just pulling up random chicks and say, hey, look what she can do or he can do.
Okay, that's why I'm clarifying. Okay. Like, I was like, where are we going? So, no. Okay, so, okay, I can understand that. Okay. Now, how long have you been the patrol commander?
Almost 3 years.
Okay. What is y'all's turnover rate on patrol? Is it pretty steady?
Mm-mm.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm. I can only think of 2 guys we lost in the last 3 years, and that was just cause higher pay.
No, I mean, is when I say pretty steady, I mean you guys stay staffed. Like you don't have an issue with people leaving.
Mm-mm.
Is that right?
Mm-mm. We've had people leave, but
But
not
like
an issue.
not like gone a lot. Okay,
Okay.
that's what I was referencing.
Is there any chance I can read all these notes?
Well, we're gonna put it.
I'm just messing with you. I'm trying to lighten the mood here a little bit.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna. Let's go.
Well, we're gonna type up all and just give it to the sheriff and give him
And for
all the
real, I mean,
facts.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's open record.
Yeah, all
I'm
that.
just messing with you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
No, it's open record.
cut the silence here.
Yeah, that's fine. Just making sure we covered everything.
I don't know what else to tell you about it other than what I already have.
And that's the difficult thing with these situations, because you've got conflicting stories. So
All right.
I'm gonna turn this off.
Okay.
I think it would be fair for you to get that EOC response and all that from the sheriff's office.
Okay. So this EEOC complaint, was this before or after he made the complaint that started the internal investigation?
After?
After. What? And you think it was retaliatory for you wanting to discipline him?
Yes, and I'll just give you a basic rundown of that.
Sure.
Couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks prior to that, and like I said, I didn't have time to written document this, and I'll explain that why to you. Being as a supervisor, I know you're supposed to document everything. He had called me one evening at home and said that he had stopped a guy on a traffic stop, and he had felony marijuana, liquid marijuana. And he took him to the jail, and at the time they were pre-screening everybody in the Sally Port before they would allow him inside the jail.
Yes, sir.
And the guy said he had previously tested positive for COVID. So Sergeant Harvey called me, and I told him, well, they won't accept him. Take him to the emergency room. If they clear him, then take him back to the jail, and they'll process him. If not, release him to the hospital, and you can take warrants on him later. So I then learned another sergeant on the road, the night shift sergeant, called me a couple hours later, hour later, whatever it was, and said that Sergeant Harvey had called him and basically asking him what he needed to do, the same thing after I already told him what he needed to do. So then after he hangs up the sergeant, he calls the chief deputy at the time, which was Mark Jones, and Chief Deputy Jones had told him the same thing I told him. And Chief Jones also instructed him, Sergeant Harvey told him he had the evidence in the trunk of his car. And Chief Jones had told him just to leave it in the trunk of his car till he come back to work. Well, I talked to Chief Jones about that the next day, and he said, yes, he did. So the next day, Sergeant Harvey worked. He was on shift. I called him in there, and we only got a short conversation because he had to leave to assist other deputies on calls. But I told Sergeant Harvey that it's not common practice, and it's bad practice to leave evidence in your car overnight. We have temporary lockers at the sheriff's office and put that in it. And my exact words, that's O.J. Simpson stuff, because that's what, was the big thing with O.J. Simpson, because the deputy left the evidence in the trunk of his car. And I asked him why he called Sergeant Cody Sanders and the chief deputy after I'd done instructed him what to do. And he got a call and had to leave, and we didn't get to finish that conversation, and then everything is what it is now.
So, had you ever joked around with his wife in the past? Is that something that you guys did?
Yes, just jokingly, not a lot, just whatever, Yes, he's been on the phone with me before, and would call, whatever the reason he had called, and his wife in the background, he would be, hey, I'm going to go out tonight. You want to come over and service my wife? And it was a joke.
Okay. So I was reading through your paperwork, sir, and it says that initially when the sheriff put you on a professional development plan, that you were asked to go to EAP and that you did that. and that you were also asked to complete an alcohol evaluation program. And basically, you did the assessment, and they said that there was no treatment recommended. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they didn't think you had a problem with alcohol.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I will call back and speak to the Chief Deputy Cheek and get that information for the EEOC complaint, and that way I should have everything I need then. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Okay. Well, all that should be an EEOC complaint because I forwarded. Scott Harvey was known, and you could interview 14 deputies at that sheriff's office. He'd be in patrol room and ask people, other deputies, if they would want to come over and have sex with his wife because he can't.
Okay, so
he makes jokes like that all the time. It wasn't like this was just out of the blue something.
got it. I understand. Because there's not any other complaints with any of the other officers or anybody else either. There's just that one isolated complaint. And of course, you weren't terminated for that. You were demoted. So.
Yes, I was disciplined within the sheriff's office.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Well, I thank you very much for your time. If you need anything else, this is my number. And please don't hesitate to call me, okay?
Okay, will you be in touch with me on...
What happens is I'll have this done, today's Monday, by the end of the week and submit it. And this probably wouldn't go back to the hearing in March. COVID put everybody so far behind.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, but they've changed the way they handle it. Now they don't make it go to probable cause, the full counsel before you're notified. They will notify you as soon as the probable cause committee makes a recommendation. So is the address on the gateway still correct for you, sir?
Yes, 214 Blackhawk Lane.
Okay, because that's where they're going to send the letter, and they don't send it registered mail, so we don't get anything back. But let's see, yeah, that's what's on the gateway. That's where they'll send your letter. Okay, sir? Thank you so much, and you have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.